I've never heard about anyone saying, I want the lottery now, I want to order my dream boat, the Hallberg-Rassy. Never heard that. On the other hand, it's not natural to tell how you made your money.
Yeah.
So maybe it has happened without me knowing it.
Yeah.
Well, it's for sure made for successful people in one or the other way. It costs a lot of money to buy a boat, to run a boat, and it is very successful people. It can be entrepreneurs, it can be people who have sold their businesses, people who like to spend a lot of time on the boat and sail long distances.
If we look at those people that are successful, probably those are adventurous people. Because in a business you have to be adventurous, and also it probably transforms in other parts of your life. And is the Hallberg-Rassy the one?
Well, for sure, Hallberg-Rassy is made for long distance sailing, for exploration sailing. That's for sure, yes. And not all boat owners really do the long sailing around the world, but most have the dream of doing it and liking the capability to do so whenever you would like to do it, because it should fit into your life as well. Maybe it doesn't fit in right now, but a few years later, and then it's good to know that you have the right boat for it.
Dreams is one thing, but I think in these big adventures and these big trips, you have to train. You have to go step by step. Do you see this?
Yes, for sure. Many people, they buy their dream boat and sail locally for the first years and sail further and further, and one day they go really far, maybe even around the world.
You can take a Hallberg-Rassy and cross the oceans and really without limits. Of course, maybe not the Missile 2, the first ones, but
there are even examples on the Missile 2 sailing from Sweden to the Caribbean and back again.
Yeah.
And even to South America.
Wow.
So it's possible. But of course, it's more convenient, more comfortable the larger the boat is. The motion in the sea gets smoother and more comfortable. You have bigger tankage, you have more storage. It's easier to sail in a slightly larger boat, that's for sure.
Do you build specifically for some region? Because there are different requirements for seacocks in the USA. They have this pressure test from the sides, or there is a different electricity plugs and such as things.
Yes. In some extent we do that. I mean, we offer different kinds of shore connection for 110 volts or 230 volts, 50 hertz, 60 hertz, and so on, and even a globetrotter version that you can handle both in the same boat. So you can plug in shore power in Europe or in the US, and it works in both places. That's possible.
Yeah. But other things like maybe some country has some special restriction. Okay, we can take even extreme measures. Now this ORCAS situation is super popular, and it is problematic, but it's problematic just in one region right now, and hopefully it stays there.
Yeah.
And of course we respect the nature and the power that is in the nature, and we have to adopt now. How Hallberg-Rassy adopted some solutions, or have think about it in the future to have this kind of.
Hallberg-Rassy has always had a very robust rudder construction. So it's designed for taking a lot of forces long before those attacks were known. So that hasn't really changed anything. You should always avoid a damage, but if it happens, there are boats that are more robust built and boats less robustly built, and Hallberg-Rassy is more robustly built for sure.
Is there any thoughts in the future maybe to even go further and build some watertight chambers around or something?
We already have that and have had that for quite many years. For example, in the forward section there is a semi-bulkhead that goes up well above the waterline, and a hole and a valve that you can close or open in case you would like to clean the boat and you want water to flow to the bilge. But normally you close it, which means that if you, for example, should hit a floating container, you fill that section, but it never goes up above that section and doesn't go further into the boat. So that's something Hallberg-Rassy have had for many decades.
Yeah.
And we also have it in the aft section. with a semi-watertight bulkhead.
It is controversial, let's say so, that if you buy a Hallberg-Rassy, it's an investment, and actually it is something that is worth of investing money, because many people think that, and in many cases this is a reality, that you basically spend much more than you gain. Not gain, of course, you cannot measure emotions and stuff like that, but it's an investment. And also that is something that I noticed in aftermarket, because there are boats that are built in the same year and has similar complications and the same stuff, but of course the build design is different, and the price for Hallberg-Rassy boats is not just slightly, but is way higher about this similar size boats. What is the key things, maybe the message or something that is making this big difference between different?
It's a long list of things. One thing is to make the right thing from the beginning, to have a boat that stands the test of time, that feels attractive over many decades. I mean, you can look at the Hallberg-Rassy that is from today, or 10 years ago, or 20 or 50 years ago. All are attractive boats. They never go really out of fashion. They have their own style, and they remain attractive. And we have also been able to build up a name and a concept that is known all over the world. You can ask more or less any sailor, no matter if it's in Japan or Brazil or New Zealand or Canada, or you can just name any country, and if you ask a sailor if they know Hallberg-Rassy, they will for sure know Hallberg-Rassy and what Hallberg-Rassy stands for. It's a well-built cruising boat with a blue stripe and a windscreen and
Yes.
made for blue water sailing. That's a message that is known to any sailor in the world. And that's also a good start, because that creates a wider market, that creates an attraction also for an older used Hallberg-Rassy, and that's valid when you would like to buy the boat, and it's valid the day you would like to sell the boat as well. So that's really good, yes.
Have you noticed also that this is hypothetically that the value of a boat, the new one, grows up? So that's maybe too extreme, but
it can happen. But I think you should not count with that. That it is a good resale value. That's a positive bonus. But you should always have room for a cost for the boat, and that goes for anything. You need to maintain the boat. You need a berth. You really need a proper insurance. You need new sails every now and then, and that's also a joy to keep your boat up to date and attractive.
Yeah, this is a part of the game.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I would like to add one thing. Of course, a Hallberg-Rassy is always well built and sturdy and long-lasting joy. What you cannot renovate or refit or improve on an existing boat is the development in design. I mean, a contemporary hull shape is so much more efficient, and that cannot be refitted on an existing boat. That the boat makes more fun to sail, that it is more efficient sailing, that it behaves smoother in the seaway, that it gives more living space, that it gives more storage on board. That cannot be refitted on an existing boat. That you get when you order a new Hallberg-Rassy.
And it changes during a time and gets better and better and better.
Yes,
that's
how it is. And every time we introduce a new model, we ask ourselves, how can we possibly top this and make it even better? I think it's impossible. But after some years, we can improve this, we can improve that.
Yeah.
And there is always something to improve and make even better. And one thing more is that the preferences, the tastes changes over time. So what we do today, if we would do that 10 years ago, people would say you're crazy. Because The styling, the taste. I mean, look at this boat. It's a bright boat with a lot of natural light. In the 70s, people didn't want that. They wanted dark boats.
Really?
Yes. Dark wood, dark upholstery,
Yeah.
small port lights. It was a different story. And that's what people wanted then. But today we want more openness, you want a brighter interior, more natural light, and all those things that you get with a contemporary design today.
Exactly. The speed. And also how close you can go to the wind if you are a headwind.
Yeah.
And such things, this is outstanding. Yes. Of course, it's many factors probably.
Yes. And the interesting thing is that I used to hear that if you want to improve the performance, you need to sacrifice on the comfort. And the other way around.
Is it true?
It's not true. It's the other way around. Look at a contemporary Hallberg-Rassy design. It gives better sailing performance and better living space and more storage and an overall better boat that goes smoother in a seaway and easier to handle, easier to control. Everything is getting better at the same time, at the cost of nothing.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting thing. And no one thought that would be possible some decades ago, but it actually is like that.
How you came up with something and why?
It was the solution to handle a big boat with minimum crew. We saw that our customer liked our larger models, and the models grew and grew and grew, but people were anxious. They didn't know how to handle it because they didn't want a big football team of crew on board. They wanted to sail on their own or a couple and go long distance sailing. And the question was, how is this manageable with a growing size of boat? And then we started to put inmast furling, then powered inmast furling, electric winches, bow thrusters, stern thrusters, and a lot of things that makes it easier to handle the boat. Then you can handle a bigger boat with a smaller crew. And that's what people want.
But I think it's Hallberg-Rassy also stands out with it because we can go also in super yacht level when it is different needs. But I think the Hallberg-Rassy, and this is a question: is it meant for like a family? Because I admit that I like to sail alone and with my family in a very small circle. So I don't want to have a party, and I'm not so interested also in myself to have a crew on a boat. It is nice to handle this. Have you that kind of thinking also in mind when you
Absolutely.
build the boats?
The boats are so easy to handle, no matter the size. Even the flagship, the 69-footer, is so easy to handle by pushing buttons that you can sail it alone if you need to. But the concept is not solo sailing. It's to handle a big boat with minimum crew, and the crew not necessarily have to have a lot of knowledge about how to sail the boat. You can have family members and friends that are not so skilled sailors, and still it works very well.
Oh, that sounds good actually, to invite some guests and say, take an alcohol bit in, so I just press this one. So, that sounds good. But I understand it's not solo sailing. It's
You need to know what you're doing, of course. You need to be aware of the forces and the consequences when you push the button. You can destroy things if you don't know what you're doing. But it's enough that one person is knowing what he is doing.
69 foot now, and there's, as you say, it's huge forces, and I can imagine the power of inches and the tons that it can pull. Is it some safety thing that, or you have to be mindful when you're using? Does it stop some?
You
some
have
limits?
to be mindful. You can put a stop, but you have to be able to sail the boat in a storm and in a gale as well. So, if you put the stop too low, it stops in nice weather when something jams or you have a rope around something, but then you cannot sail the boat in a storm. So it's quite high, and you need to know what you are doing. So you need to be aware of the consequences what you do when you push the button. That's for sure.
Yeah, there must be something mad that you haven't installed in the boats. If you're talking about updates, maybe some towel dryers or.
We have that.
You have
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Okay. Is there something that you excluded from the wish list of customers?
No, not really. But some things haven't been possible in the past, but are possible now. I mean, for example, the stern thruster was not on the market, but once it was a game changer because it makes the boat so much easier to handle. You can push the boat sideways, push it to the dock if the wind is blowing the wrong way, and you can turn the boat like this on the spot, and that makes handling so much easier. And there are many other functions like push button operation of Vang, push button operation of halyard control on the larger vessels. That came gradually. First you had a manual spoke that you can pump the Vang down and a release valve that you can ease it. Now you have plus and minus buttons, and you have a display that you can see how much load there is on the halyards, on the Vang, on the backstay, and so on.
Oh, but that is good.
That is really good.
Yeah,
Yes.
that sounds.
And it's all about making sail handling more comfortable and easier and more effortless.
If there will be a chance to get the mast for it,
Yeah.
will the Hallberg-Rassy go bigger?
Probably. You should never say never.
What is the limiting factor?
Yes, right now it is the limiting factor to get the powered in-mast furling, and that has been the case for many years. In the early 90s, it was a 53-footer that was the largest because we couldn't get a larger powered in-mast furling. But gradually we could get larger and larger and larger, and we got a 62-footer, a 64-footer, and it's a bit funny because when I had plans about developing a slightly larger boat than the 62-footer, the first question was about the mast. If we don't have a powered in-mast, we don't get the concept Hallberg-Rassy. So the first telephone call was to the mast maker, Seldén Mast in Gothenburg, and I asked, could you imagine making a slightly larger mast that has powered in-mast furling? And because we have plans on building something bigger, but we don't have the mast for it. And the answer was, we have been waiting for this call. We have the plans ready. If you say you build a boat, we build a mast. We can start this afternoon. So that was easy. After that, it took some time, and now we build a 69-footer because now we can offer the mast in carbon. So it's lighter, it's stiffer, it's handles less, it's rolls less, it's a more comfortable ride. It's better for everything, and it makes it possible to build a big mast that has powered in-mast furling. So that's the solution, because I cannot imagine myself seeing a Hallberg-Rassy that doesn't have this function.
Yeah.
There are larger solutions for in-boom furling, but that's not the Hallberg-Rassy concept, because it's too sensitive. You have to have the right angle of the boom, you have to have the right angle of the wind towards the sail, as long as you do everything right, it works perfectly. But as soon as something is not ideal, it doesn't work well. An in-mast furling is much more forgiving, and you can reef the sail sailing downwind, and that's really essential, because on long distance sailing it's not a question if, but when you get a squall, sudden squall with a lot of wind, and you have to reef, and you cannot go up into the wind in a lot of wind and reef. You have to be able to reef downwind sailing, and that you can do with in-mast furling, but not with in-boom furling.
That is good good thing to have, definitely.
Yeah.
Because it's, and especially for this kind of boats, it is very big forces, there are big ones, and a lot of sails are up. So that sounds good. is there any other? So we are now getting into these topics that maybe normally stays out of the kind of my daily thing. But about upgrades, of course there are now these hybrid driven boats, and there's lots of carbon hulls, and there is Titan used on the boats, and lots of things. Also, super yacht industry has different examples on the solutions, and also these things come up. Maybe 100% electric. What is the new cutting edge thing? Maybe it's a secret, I guess, but. What could we expect my customers after 40 years and those that buy boats directly tomorrow after 1 year? Of course it takes the time and development and production. What is the new thing, because you have been innovated? The fiberglass was introduced, and then this falling mast and stuff, and what's the new thing?
Well, right now it is carbon in most furling, even for a boat of this size that we are in now, a 40-footer and larger, of course. There are things you mentioned that I don't believe in for many years to come. For example, electric propulsion and hybrid propulsion is nothing for a long-distance cruiser. It's good for a day cruiser, but the range is by far not good enough, and the charging infrastructure is by far not good enough for a long-distance cruiser. For a day sailor, fine. For a dinghy, fine already today, but not for what Hallberg-Rassy is built for, a blue water cruiser for long-distance sailing. And also carbon is good for mast, but I am not a fan of carbon in the hull, because a good cruising boat has to be robust. And a carbon hull is torsionally stiff, but it's not strong if you get a hit like this. So, for example, if you hit the dock, you don't want a hole in your boat. And because of that, you want a robust hull with a thick outer skin. And the thickness is the same no matter if you have glass fiber and traditional laminate or carbon hull. You need to have the same thickness to get the robustness. And then you haven't gained anything. Because the point with having a hull with carbon is to have a light and stiff hull, and that's good for racing. A racing sailor doesn't care about if you get a hole in the boat if you hit the dock. It's more important to have a very light hull. But that's not what a long-distance cruiser is looking for. You need robustness. So I don't believe in that kind of hull for this kind of boat. It's good for other types of boats, for performance racing boats, but not for a blue water cruiser.
I understand what you're saying, because this there is a point in it, and of course the stiff. I have also cut up some sport boats, some racers, and of course there are laminate structures and different kind of solutions used to make the boat lighter. And clearly, if you look at the thickness of the hulls and robustness, it's nothing near.
We'll take big steps forward after many years, but I don't think it will happen in the next few years. It's a lot. I mean, the difference between an electric car and a blue water cruiser is huge. The range is more than okay for an electric car, and the charging infrastructure is really good for an electric car, and exactly that is not good enough for a blue water cruiser. You don't have the range, you don't have the charging infrastructure, and if you have a hybrid solution, you don't really gain anything, because you get a higher fuel consumption than with a direct diesel drive, because it's a way you have to have a diesel engine producing power, and the power has to use the electric motor, and you lose energy in that way. It's more direct with a diesel engine for a blue water cruiser. There are not many sailors admitting it, but fact is that if you look at how many engine hours you have and how long distance you sail, you go more than 50% by motor. Because you want to get further. If you have no wind, you don't wait for the wind. You start the engine and you want to go to the next harbor or shoreline. And it's more engine use that you think and you want to admit, but reality is speaking another language. You need a well-working engine for long-distance sailing. It also makes a lot of fun to reach other continents, other shorelines, other anchorages, other villages. That's a part of this long-distance sailing concept.
What is approximately this the formula that you have to calculate the boat range, or you normally in standard standardize it?
We maximize it as much as we can, as much as that there is reasonable room for. And in the old days, you had more fresh water than fuel. Now, on the larger boats in particular, it's the other way around. And that's because the water makers have developed so much that you can produce your own fresh water out of salt water. So you don't need a larger freshwater tank than a fuel tank. Fuel tank is more important to get the range, to get the capability to produce your own water, to start air conditioning, to have a comfortable life for effortless sailing on a long distance.
And if we think size-wise, then it seems just it could be so, because there is not so much maybe space for new batteries. That probably is lithium nowadays, and for smaller boats, probably the range is smaller. And if you go up to the 69 now, then the range is much bigger for bigger boats.
Yeah, there are several factors. One factor is how much fuel you have and the fuel consumption and the range under power. But what is also a limiting factor is how much food can you store on board? How large fridges do you have? How large freezers do you have? And that's of course also putting the limit how long you can sail with your boat. The more capacity you can have for food, for fresh water, for fuel, and a lot of other things, also sets the limits for how long you can sail with the boat.
And how is it about the balance? Because in the bigger boats, of course, you get the clothes drying and machines and a bit more things that are lifting up the comfort of being in a boat.
And that's a very good question, because in the old days you didn't have so much comfort equipment, but today we have. So every time we develop a new design, we ask ourselves, what is an appropriate level of comfort equipment for this kind of boat? And then we come to an overall displacement that includes all those comfort equipment. And then we have the boat design for that displacement.
Yeah.
I think it's dangerous to take a boat that you designed for a dream displacement that is too low compared to reality, and then you start to put extra tankage, air conditioning, dishwasher, a washing machine, and all those comfort equipment, and then the boat gets loaded and too heavy and doesn't perform well. A boat that is designed to carry a higher displacement from the start will always perform better and feel better to sail than a boat that is overloaded. Because and that has changed a lot during the years. If you look at a 40-footer from the 80s, there is a lot of equipment that wasn't on the market. So the design and the displacement was designed correspondingly. Now there is a lot of equipment that not many years ago was only something for the flagship model, the 62-footer, that is on more or less every 40-footer today, like bow thruster, stern thruster, powered in-mast furling, washing machine, dishwasher, all those things that makes life on board easy and comfortable. And wasn't possible in the old days for this size of boat, but now it's possible, and it makes life easier on board.
Yeah. How to buy a new Hallberg-Rassy? Should we call the the factory here in Elos and say, oh, I would like to get one?
You can do so, and we also have dealers all over the world. Yes.
Is the same?
It's
Because
the same.
you know,
Yes. The pricing is the same. The dealers we have are educated on the Hallberg-Rassy models, and you can buy a boat from a local dealer or directly from the yard, as you like. Yes.
But anyway, it's possible to you know, if you order a boat, you just you go talk with someone who can help, who is very knowledgeable, and you can pick your options and things that you would like to be installed in a boat. Of course, there is definitely some limits that you probably will not change the structure or something so far, but you got your things in. But then is the construction part, the building part.
Yeah.
And is it possible to come and just check it out? How
Of
it
course,
goes? And
we encourage that, and we are happy to see people coming here before you buy, when you buy, when the boat is under construction several times even, because it's a way to get to know the boat, how the boats are built, why they are built as they are built, to find all the components on board, to get an understanding, a mutual understanding. And it's also good for us to get to know you as a boat buyer, and for our boat builders to meet the real user of the boat. I mean, you cannot do a bad work for somebody that you meet and know you will use this boat for long distance sailing. Of course you need to do a good work.
Yeah, and they do a good job, and they do according to specifics. They have rules how to do it, and everything has to be correct. And they work for how many years? Normally it is.
I give out a gold watch for when you have worked 25 years and 50 years. And the past 12 months, I think I gave out 5 gold watches. So
yeah.
We have a very loyal workforce. Yeah.
But this is also something that personally you, Magnus, have spent your life boat building.
Yeah, most of it at least.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's legacy, and it continues, and it's amazing to see.
Yeah.
This is every skill and everything that related to this. The boat building in total, you cannot learn in 5 minutes, and even a year and 10 years, and especially if we talk about designers, because you have for a long time have very good cooperations with designers, and you follow the lines, and it's amazing. And probably you don't plan to change anything or go wild.
There is always a change, but it's always also a balance between tradition and new development. I mean, development goes further all the time. Taste changes, preferences changes, and you have to live with your time, but you also need to remember the history and the traditions and all that is good with that. And the balance, finding the right mix, that's really important. And it's always much easier to say that you need the right balance than to actually find the right balance. But I think we have managed that quite well.
About these traditions that you keep, what are those? What is like have been important for many years, and what you cherish?
First is the look. You should always recognize a Hallberg-Rassy as a Hallberg-Rassy, even on a distance, no matter if it's a brand new design or many decades old. It should always be a well-built boat, nice wooden interior, a sturdy construction, built for blue water cruising, a boat that is effortlessly handled for sailing anywhere in the world.
And is it true that everything that you can, everything that is in a boat, you can carry out through the doors?
Yes, we start putting hull and deck together. We have the structural bulkheads in place. Then we put the deck in place and laminate hull and deck together. Everything else goes in through the normal opening in the boat. That means all the tanks, all the engine, the generator, everything like that goes in the same way that you can get it out.
And this laminated, when you put it together, like with a sandwich, you laminate it with
a lot of layers of fiberglass. I
Yes.
guess it's totally stiff and
It's really torsional stiff. It doesn't move. If you go into a Hallberg-Rassy when sailing in the seaway and listen, you hear that it is very quiet.
yeah.
And that's a sign that the boat is stiff and torsionally stiff built. And that's also really important.
That is super
Yeah.
important, yeah. And also because there is from the practical, from the renovation part and stuff
Yeah.
like that, I know very well the cracks up here and delamination follows and lots of problems if it's not stiff. And many boats aren't stiff. And I will not mention probably which ones they are, but this is if someone hires me, so then we can go into the details for some other boats. But Hallberg-Rassy, yes, they absolutely they are known for the high quality, and that's why maybe they are getting more popular also now in this aftermarket.
Yeah.
And
One important part of it is that,
and,
yes.
and if I think about that, if someone buys a new Hallberg-Rassy, then he can know that there's a good aftermarket, definitely,
Yeah.
even after those 40 and more plus years.
Yeah.
Because of course the boats has aged, and of course they not all the things and systems are forever built. The things has to be changed, and but still people choose them, and they love to buy them because it's the hulls and the structure. I think good mathematics. Also, it's well calculated
Yeah.
boats. And thank you for those. I want to ask practical questions about the core material.
Yeah.
Because this comes up
Yeah.
too often, I
Yeah.
guess. How is the isolation
Yeah.
in Hallberg-Rassy boats if we come from the early models up? Is there different materials used? Do you change from balsa to something foam or something?
Hallberg-Rassy has never used balsa. We have always had closed cell PVC foam, which is more known under the brand Divinycell. And it insulates well, and it doesn't soak water. And it makes the boat torsionally stiff as well. So it has many advantages. And we started with it in the mid-1980s. The final end-line design, the 382, was the first one which was insulated with Divinycell foam core in the hull. And all the Freyr's designs have foam core hull. The decks always have to have cores. The foam core makes it stiff so you can walk on the deck, and that goes for any brand and any Hallberg-Rassy.
Aha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, the deck would be far too soft to
Yeah.
walk on.
And this closed cell foam,
Yes.
it doesn't rot at all.
No. No.
In hull. Oh, that's. And then delamination wise.
You have to
I just-
do the right thing. You have to laminate in the correct way,
Yeah.
and then it's not an issue. And the closed cell means it doesn't soak water, and the fact that it doesn't soak water also means it cannot rotten.
Yeah.
In contrast to balsa, which soaks water and does rotten after some time with water.
Also, 312 has this closed.
The deck has the foam core,
Yeah.
but not the hull.
Yeah.
You can say none of the end-line designs have cored hulls except the final end-line design, which was the 382.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And there it's on the end-line designs, it's really thick single skin with stringers to stiffen up the hulls,
Mm-hmm.
and no foam core as on the Freyr's designs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nowadays, if you think about isolation and sailing in the colder climates,
Yeah.
of course the not oxidation, but condensation.
Yeah.
Condensation is an
That's an
issue,
important
but,
point. If you have a foam core hull, you get almost no condensation. I would say no condensation. You can get some condensation, but not from the hull. You can get it from a metal frame from a deck hatch, for example. But that's small drips of water, not more than so. And the foam core also insulates against cold, against heat, and against noise. So it's a very quiet boat as well.
And nowadays, the isolation materials are also in hulls.
Yes.
All the way, also underwater, or?
In the beginning, it was above the waterline,
Yeah.
and the keel area was solid laminate. Today, the insulation is further down, about that much below the waterline,
Yes.
and still the keel area is always solid laminate, single skin. Yeah.
Yes, you have to have a chance to cool down the wine if the freezer breaks down.
And also, if you should hit an underwater rock, it's better with a solid laminate in the area around the keel.
Yes.
Yes.
I heard that there is news that 370
Yes.
is coming out in October.
Yes,
2025 is now.
Yes, yes.
Is there any,
That's correct.
That's the news that's coming out now?
Yes.
Is there anything else planned?
Well, for next year, for 2026, we will have an updated 44 called Hallberg-Rassy 44 Mark II, which is basically an extensive facelift of the existing 44, with improvements for comfort, for sail handling, for sailing performance, for effortless sailing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. And if something breaks down, then there is possible parts to buy.
Yes,
Hallberg-Rassy
that
parts
also
store.
has to be mentioned. We have a dedicated company just caring about spare parts and accessories, nothing else. They are specialized in that. 8 people working with only spare parts and accessories, shipping it to all over the world.
And they probably will know even the details, how to get it off or how to put it on.
Most of the time, not always, but most of the time. Yeah.
Thank you, Magnus.
Yeah,
And,
you're most
it was a
welcome.
pleasure to talk, and
My pleasure.
it's an honor.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.